Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to JJ's PC Builds. This is JJ with you once again. If it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do, helping support the channel. Okay, today we're going to talk about the Geforce drivers for Nvidia. Seems Nvidia came out with some new Geforce drivers, which was on the 14th, and I know today is the 19th of November. So let's go ahead and switch to the action screen and see what we got cooking. Alrighty. I pulled it up. It's 546.17, if you're wondering what it is. We're going to do the release highlights on this. This says, this game ready driver provides the best gaming experience for the latest technology, including Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3, and Starfield. The fixes that they got going on, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make this screen a little bit smaller. So this way we get everything in there. So there we go. Okay. There, we had to make it a little bit smaller so that way y'all can see it and get it in there. The fixed gaming bugs. It's Alan Wake 2 addressing the gradual stability and performance degradation over extended periods of gameplay. Counter-Strike 2 improved Nvidia reflex, functionality, and performance. Starfield and Cyberpunk 2077. Stutter observed on some advanced Optimist notebooks. Control game stability issues over extended periods of gameplay. Fix general bugs. OBS tearing issues when recording and resolution. Notebook GPU can become frozen in maximum performance state. Windows 10 transparency effects are not displayed correctly after driver update. Random bug check may be observed on certain systems. Wallpaper engine wallpaper shows tearing when cloned in multi-monitor configuration. Firefox beta. Increased page file memory when using enabling RTX video super resolution. Okay, they got more if you click on the article, so that way we go right to that article, you know. Excuse me, I'm still fighting the flu, but I'm still trying to make the video. Additionally, there's support for Starfield Steam Beta Update, which is now available with DLSS 3, DLAA, and Nvidia Reflex ahead of its official release at a later date. So that's pretty cool. God, that hurts. Sorry, everybody. I know this is not the kind of video that you were thinking, that I'm sitting there coughing and everything, but I'm trying. Let's see what they got. Let's go ahead and play this. Well, this video is age restricted. Why? They think I'm over the age of, under the age of 18? Only available on YouTube. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. They did something crazy. It looks like the RTX 4090 looks like it's got some good benchmarks here with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. You know, looks like the low side's at about 124.6. And it looks like that's with DLSS off. DLSS on, it's at 206.5. The 4080 looks like it's at 89.4 with it off and 159.6 with it on. 4070, 59.8 with it off and 113 with it on. It's not pretty bad, pretty snappy. That also too, that was done with a system with an i9 12900K, 32 gigs of RAM, and Windows 11 64. And set at the extreme preset, Nvidia DLSS 3 on. So that's what they got for that. And same game at 1440p. Was that at 1440p? No, that was at 4K. This was at 4K right here. This is at 1440p from what I'm looking at. And it's with DLSS off, we're looking at 4090, 182.8 and 248.3 with it on. 4080s, 140.1 with it off, and 218.9 with it on. 4070 with it off is 100.9, and with it on is 162.6. 4060 Ti, 75.6 with it off, and 122.5 with it on. That's not bad for a 4060 Ti at 1440p. But that's using a 12th gen processor too. That's not bad at all. So, y'all using 12th and 13th gen processors, looks like that, you get a good advantage. They didn't test it. I didn't see them test it with any AM5 series right now on these charts. So, hard to say what the AMD side's doing, but you can see what the Intel side's doing. So at the 4060, it's got 59.3 with it off, and it's got 100.8 with it on. Now for a 4060 getting over 100 FPS with DLSS 3, that is not bad at all. Even getting close to with it off at 60 FPS for a 4060, that's not bad at all for 1440p. That is not bad at all. Alrighty, now let's go down to the 1080p. This is for your 1080pers that's out there that play, on your monitor with 1080p. So it looks like the 4090 is at 228.9 with it off and 301 with it on. That's not much of a boost, but it is somewhat of a boost. And make sure you got your drink and snacks with you, by the way. Yes, I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit, and I'm kind of struggling today. 4080 looks like it's at 184.9 with it off. And this is DLSS 3 with it off and on. Now with it on, it says 286.8. It's not too shabby. 4070 with it off is at 140. With it on is at 225.1. That's not too shabby at all. 4060 Ti, 106.6 with it off and 167 with it on. Now, RTX 4060. Now, that was the 4060 Ti. This is the 4060. 4060's got 86.4 with it off and 145.8 with it on. That is not bad at all. I mean, looking at these numbers right here, just for this one game is not bad at all. I mean, if you can get all these numbers and some with some of these GPUs, I think y'all would be more happier to see these kind of numbers. I know it's not total rasterization. I mean, when DLSS 3 and Reflex and all that, when you got all that enabled and stuff, it'll probably give you a better advantage, but everybody says it's fake and everything else. Does it really matter if it's fake or not? You play the game. If the game's not stuttering, you're playing the game and you're having fun with it and it's on. So what? Enjoy the game. Enjoy your FPS. Enjoy the moment. No matter if it's fake or real or whatever the case is, the whole purpose of having these extra little bonus features is that way it gives you a better advantage when you're having your gameplay. Now, if it gives you a better advantage on your gameplay, then be happy with it. I would definitely be happy with it. Oh, this is about the laptops and everything else. We're not going to get into a series about laptops just yet, everybody. We're going to kind of steer away from that for a little bit. But now I'm going to give you my final conclusion with all this. Oh my God. Okay. Final conclusion. Looks like they got some good driver updates for, this November. And, they've put out quite a few. Now, Nvidia has put out quite a few of driver updates, especially, this is going from the last one was 546.01. Now they're up to 546.17. And that's within the same month. They put out a couple within the same month. I can't say that for AMD. AMD don't keep up like that. Nvidia seems to be keeping up with it, keeping up with the times on their drivers and everything else. And I also, too, I took a couple days, before I decided to make this video to check out this driver to make sure this driver, the software is going to be running great on my system. And so far, I'm not disappointed. It's given everything it's got. I'm getting the FPS I want. It's keeping right up there with the last set of software. Even a little bit better. You'll notice a difference when you go from software to software. So basically, you go from update to update. If you notice a little bit of a difference when you do these updates, and it gives you a better performance every update, then you're going in the right direction. So that's the way I look at it. If I get a bad performance off of, a new driver update, then, I'm going to say something about it. I'm going to say, this isn't really the kind of, software update that you want to put in your PC for your graphics card. If it gave me a bad experience, I would have rolled it back to the previous software. The previous software and driver. And then I would have waited for a better update, and then I would have went forward to the next update after. So this way, I don't limit my mobility or my experience, but at least I don't give myself a bad experience in the same time, because you can roll back the drivers. It's not hard to pull the driver software out and roll it back if, the new update gives you issues. But if it's not giving you issues, then you got nothing to worry about. And so far that when I purchased this 4070, all the updates I've done, I've never had to uninstall any of the driver software or anything else. I just updated over the next one. So I have not, did a clean install yet. I'm seeing if the update rolls along with it. You should be able to have your previous software that's in there, and plus them adding on the update to it. So when you go to update it, it should just update to put that little update that's in there every time and go up and up and up. That's the way I've done it for years. Unless you're switching, you know, your your hard drive or your SSD to a different computer, or you're going from one platform to another, then that's different of uninstalling the drivers and reinstalling the drivers and so on. But that's usually, you know, with your operating system, you're going from one to the next. Let's say you're going from AMD to Intel. That's not wise to do that, because Intel's got their set of drivers and AMD's got their set of drivers. You don't want to mix, the two sets and then turn around and have a driver incompatibility, and then you turn around, you can't boot up your motherboard on your you can't boot up Windows because it's locked out because the driver incompatibility. It can't find this driver because you overwritten it with this driver, and it becomes a mess. So basically, if you're going from an AMD system to an Intel system, do yourself a favor, do a fresh install of Windows and going from one to the next. But if you're staying with an AMD system, and let's say you just want to upgrade your processor, okay, that shouldn't, in your same system, if you just upgrade your processor, it should not be a big deal. It's just an upgrade. So then that means you go to AMD website for that processor and then pull down the drivers for it and then update it to your PC. Doesn't mean you have to wipe everything out of your PC just to put your new processor in. You don't have to do that. I have never yet. When I trust me, when I go from, when I went from my 5600G to my 5700X, I didn't have to pull any software out. I just updated it. Just went to their website, pulled down the drivers, the software updates, installed it on my PC, boom, and there you go. If I ever decide to go back to the 5600G, I just plug in the 5600G and go. Unless there's driver updates or software updates, that's on the 5600G, then I'll have to pull them. But pretty much, software updates, really don't have to do much with that. It's pretty much some people say, well, you get them through Microsoft and everything else. Yeah, but sometimes Microsoft drivers are about 3 years old. 3 years older than what you would want on your system. So let's say, with your, I had one problem with my network Ethernet card that's built in onto the motherboard. Okay. It's set up. I don't know why they did an AMD system setting up the network card for Intel. That's what really, I couldn't figure out why they did that. But I was having network issues and I couldn't get the network to come up online. So I'm sitting there looking at the drivers, and I went and looked and seen and set, into the device manager and seeing that, me doing the most recent update for the network drivers seemed to be, having an issue. So I had to roll it back 2 years to get that network card to run correctly. And ever since then, I've never had a problem with it. It's been running good ever since. Stuff like that. I mean, updating your motherboard's not hard. It's just getting the software that's designed for it to work correctly. That's the problem. Sometimes they overstep things and they just don't pay attention when they're building the new driver sets. So sometimes you got to roll back to the old drivers just to have your motherboard to run correctly. But, and this is another thing. If your motherboard is running correctly, then leave it alone. I'm going to be honest with you. If your motherboard is running correctly, do not update anything on it. Okay? If it's running smooth and everything else, just like we had that live video last night, this man, is having a problem with the Expo. Everybody's having a problem with the Expo. It don't matter if it's Asus or whatever. Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, whatever. They're all having the same problem with the Expo. It's causing instability problems is because it's, when they did that Expo, they're just trying to drive it harder than what the processor is expected to do. Especially when AMD done said to everybody they put a restriction on the damn processor if it's X3D. This way, you don't overclock it. It's not an overclocking processor. If you get an X3D processor, it's not an overclocking processor, people. So don't expect it to overclock to where you think you're getting gangbuster things out of that processor. You're not. I mean, when I got my Ryzen 5 5600X 3D and tested it out, it didn't like that high amount of power. So I had to undervolt it to get it to run just smooth. And by doing that, I got better performance. Out of the box, I tried it out of the box. Everything, was stable, but it was just getting way too hot. And if processor heats up really fast, that means it's just running too unstable. It means you're trying to run it faster than what it's expected to do. So that's the reason why I undervolt, is because, I don't need water cooling systems and everything else. If you're trying to save money in building a system, you're going to be going with an air cooler. And that's usually most of the population out there is sitting there using this out of the box air coolers. And, they don't want their processor to, overheat or anything else. Or when they put it all together and everything else, what happens is that their computer is overheating is because they don't understand why it's overheating and it's running at stock. They can't understand it. Okay, you run things at stock and you run them on auto. That means that the computer program itself is automatically dictating what the powers are that you're going to be using. It's automatically dictating to push it to 100% and beyond when it's set on auto. When you set it at stock, stock is usually basically setting it on auto turbo. So that's for another discussion in another video. We all can sit down and talk about the motherboards and everything else, and and have a big old discussion about that. I think I'm going to do that on the next video with you all, is take and look these motherboards up and, kind of fine tooth through them and, what you can do and what you can't do with them, pick out some good ones. So if y'all got any suggestions on that, you can leave a comment down in the description below about the type of motherboard you would like to see me take a gander on, so that way you get a good idea if that's going to be a really good motherboard for you or not. I'll take your suggestions, and I'll add it into the video. So, but anyway, about the game ready drivers, Geforce, Nvidia, the 546.17. My opinion and final thought, I think it's running well. I don't have a problem with it. I haven't seen no blue screening, no crashing, no nothing. I mean, it's running just as smooth as the last one did. Performance wise, it seems to be giving the same level, but it's not giving me that uplift that I would love to see, you know. But maybe that'll come later on down the road. But for right now, I'm right at equal of the same game level play. So basically, I don't see anything that went up. I don't see nothing that went down. So I'm still seeing the same level of gameplay. Now, usually that means is if that happens and then they basically made the driver specifically for certain games, which they did. They got 2 games they made this specific for this run: Modern Warfare 3 and Starfield. Okay. Well, I hate to tell you, I don't play Starfield and I don't play Modern Warfare 3. So that kind of leaves me out of that loop, but it doesn't leave you out of this loop. And the loop is, make sure that if it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And also to my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do, helping support the channel. Watching videos from beginning to end, telling your friends, come on down to subscribe to JJ's PC Builds. But until the next time in the next video, this is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. We will see you on the next one.